Sabathia Wright and Brett Gardner Paul J. Bereswill Cleveland. In this age in which pretty much everything that occurs on a baseball field can be tabulated and quantified, it has become more difficult to discuss items such as chemistry and culture that do not easily fit on a spreadsheet. Former Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart once famously said of his inability to clearly define obscenity, "I know it when I see it." Positive clubhouse culture is largely like that. You see it, you feel it, you experience it, though, like a watermelon seed, it is hard to grasp. But before you dismiss it, I would consider that the first two teams to advance to the LCS, the Astros and Dodgers, are perhaps the most analytically inclined organizations in the majors. Yet after disappointingly missing the playoffs last year, the Astros acquired Carlos Beltran, Brian McCann and Josh Reddick, and admitted it was, yes, about their skill, but also about the need to surround their young core with been there, done that stand-up veterans. The Dodgers brought back Chase Utley, and it was not about his .716 ops in 2016. It was because they believed Utley's professionalism, seriousness and passion helped focus a talented roster that at times would go off the rails. The Red Sox fired their manager, John Farrell, on Wednesday, and his fractured relationship with the head of baseball operations, Dave Dombrowski, and disconnect with parts of his clubhouse clearly were central. But Boston needs to be thinking about a bigger issue, which is why matters spiral out of hand with this club. I think that begins with that intangible culture. When the Red Sox go awry, they really go awry. In the past 6 seasons, they have finished first 3 times and last 3 times despite big talent and huge payrolls. They rallied around Boston strong after the marathon bombing to win the 2013 World Series in Farrell's first season. Then finished last 2 years in a row, by the way, with David Ortiz on the roster. Big Papi's absence was cited for the clubhouse dysfunction this year, in which David Price very publicly feuded with media members, notably Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley, and Dustin Pedroia made it clear to the Orioles that it was others in the organization, perhaps Dombrowski or Farrell, who ordered Manny Machado hit after the Baltimore Star injured Pedroia with a kick-out slide. The Red Sox won the AL East this season, yet constantly seemed to be underperforming their talent and doing so joylessly. It stood in contrast to the Yankees in the past few years, but particularly 2017. I don't think the Yankees were particularly good from 2013 to 2016, yet somehow never won fewer than 84 games, were in the race every September and were a wild card in 2015. Part of that had to do with the positive energy engendered from their veterans downward. There was good leadership, and with a much stronger roster this year, the leadership still was strong. Matt Holliday had a positive impact on many youngsters, none more so than Aaron Judge. Brett Gardner and Sabathia both are valued for their unifying, passionate guidance. This is vital for the Yankees as they more and more hand the team over to youngsters and still might have to trim some veterans to meet their stated goal of getting under the $197 million luxury tax threshold in 2018. Holliday and Sabathia are free agents after this season. Holliday almost certainly will not return, and Gardner is perhaps the most easily traded of the Yankees veterans making some money. However, Brian Cashman explained he does value players such as Gardner for attributes beyond on-field skill and has shunned even talented players who he thought would unsettle the clubhouse dynamic. "I try not to import people who are massive headaches," Cashman said. "I want good people and to avoid guys whose problems become problems for the other 24 guys. It is hard enough to compete on a daily basis, especially in a big market, with a good clubhouse. You don't want to add another layer of problems." Aaron Judge and Matt Holliday before the wildcard game. AP Cashman said that setting up a mental skills program under Director of Mental Conditioning Chad Bowling has helped the Yankees both better avoid and navigate problems. And the Yankees have done a good job of not allowing issues that could undermine the mushroom. For example, veterans Holliday, Jacoby Ellsbury and Chase Headley have lost significant playing time late in the year and none has publicly made a stink. Sabathia has gone out of his way to mention that the team bonded instantly in spring training and that has been central to a positive atmosphere for young players to blossom, and the Yankees on the whole to outperform expectations. "We all pull for each other," Sabathia said. "I keep saying that. It's a close-knit group, and I think that goes a long way when you get into games like we did, 0-0 in Game 3, and Greg Bird hitting a homer off Andrew Miller, or being down 20, going home, getting back here to Cleveland for Game 5 just shows you a lot about what we think about each other in the locker room, and it kind of spills over to the field."